Coach, if you just fill us in a little bit about the role change and everything in your learning process. How's that been going so far this spring?
It's been going great. It really has. I really enjoyed working with this staff and being a part of this program. I mean, this is who I am. Right? This is, I've been here for a long time. I've been a player here, learned here. Learned as a player, learned as a coach. My role now, it's working with the studs. We're in playing defense here. It's you're always going to have your core values, and I think that's really something that we really believe in terms of you got to run to the ball, you got to tackle, you got to set the edge, you got to do a bunch of different things. So, we're really excited about what that position has and the guys in it, and I really enjoyed myself so far.
What have been your early impressions of Travis Johansson and the system that he's brought in?
He, just first and foremost, I mean, he's got that head coach aura about him. Whether that's real or not, what exactly that is. Sometimes it's hard to explain, but he's just a leader, in every aspect of it. And I think not only just of the players, but I think the staff too. He does a great job, and I get to talk to him about things like just in terms of the staff, in terms of how things used to be done here and whatnot, and he's so open-minded, and I think he's also has his way in doing it and really knows and has a vision. That's the thing about him. He has a vision. He knows what he wants to do, and it's been great. It really has.
Coach, could you just describe a little bit of what the studs category means?
Yeah, so the studs is going to be a flexible position. I mean, it's going to be as versatile as you probably can get. I mean, in terms of what that looks like week per week, it can change. But yeah, I mean, we're going to ask him to do a lot of different things, like you're going to ask every position on defense. But the studs, he's going to have to be a guy that can run, a guy that can, set the edge, and a guy that can, cover somebody too. So he's going to, again, that's going to be really flexible. I think it's going to be a position that, varies from week to week.
As one of the main holdovers, one of the few holders from last year's defensive staff, how do you feel like you've meshed with all the new coaches and new faces coming into this room? Great.
Yeah, I mean, unbelievable. These guys are, you couldn't ask for a better group of guys. I mean, they're just so open to everything. They're also, they're tight. They want to get to know, myself. I want to get to know them. They couldn't have been, because there are a lot of the guys that, that were from South Dakota and have worked in the past together. But that doesn't mean like, hey, I'm the odd man out. They've been unbelievable in terms of that, and in terms of just every day asking about my family, asking about just your everyday type of thing that you go through. You couldn't ask for a better group. I mean, really, they're a really great group of guys.
A little bit past halfway through spring, any guys in your position group stand out so far? Do you have an idea of who will be starting there in the fall? Just kind of where they player-wise your position?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty early to name a starter, but yeah, there's definitely guys that just jump right out. I mean Jesse Fury, he's probably playing the best football I've seen him play. In terms of being here for quite some time, and again I have the advantage to have seen Jesse grow and. I remember him as a kid that, you talk about a kid that's care level. I remember him as a recruit coming down for spring practice and driving down from Massachusetts by himself, right? And he was here every practice. It's kind of like, was he going to school? But I don't know. He was here literally every. I'm like, God, is he here? So. But that just tells you how much he cares. When he was a committed player, how much he came, and that's the same way he is now. The kid doesn't leave the hail. He'll come in and just, you talk about care level. Usually those guys, from being here for quite some time in coach's, system and program, usually those guys do work out. I think those guys are usually guys, if they have the ability and they care enough, they usually end up working out. So, and then, there's a bunch of guys, DK Gilly's another really talented young guy that he unfortunately was injured last year, but I remember him, in the bowl game against Kansas State. I mean, he showed some real promise, and we're like, wow, that is explosion, true, athlete that can do some really nice things for us, and I think he's going to do really nice things. I think in general it's going to be a mixed bag, by committee type deal. I think every player in the room has different attributes that suit different types of teams and schemes. So again, when you talk about the role, it's kind of sometimes that'll be changing. So some guy might be better against other types of looks.
To go off that, there's a lot of young guys who may not have that playing experience yet. What have you seen from the freshmen and sophomores who don't have that game experience but are on track in their development?
Yeah, I mean, some things that in terms of having the in-game experience, you can't make up for that. You're absolutely right. I mean, that is something that you love to have, from a group of guys, but also in a sense that with this group, it's been nice, again, seeing it from my perspective. There's a fresh start. It's 2026. There's a new look, and Coach Johansson's unbelievable with that. He makes sure that whole psyche, that whole, sometimes as a coach you don't really get into as much, or position coach you kind of don't see the big picture, but Coach Johansson does an unbelievable job of keeping the guys. All right, what are they feeling like right now? Because again, not looking back to last year, but it is something that he's very aware of in terms of making sure those guys have that workman's mentality every single day. That no matter what, I mean, again, the process is going to be the same, whether or not they have success on the field or don't have. It's still going to stay the same, and that's the real thing that we're trying to teach them right now. So they no matter what, that'll kind of stay the same whether or not you got experience or not. So that's really the thing we're trying to teach.
Time for two more here.
When Coach Shiano came to you and told you about the position change for yourself, just how did you take that, and how have you approached having to move back a little bit and the guys you're coaching?
Yeah, so I mean, I loved it. I mean, I was super excited to get the opportunity to work in the secondary. I think it's something that I've always wanted to do. I worked in different positions. I worked linebackers. I've been defensive line. I think in my experience, I've been around for a while. I've studied for tons and tons of hours and watched tons and tons of film. And I think also being in a room in a staff room for 6 years, for the last 6 years here with Coach Shiano, number one, Coach Johansson. I mean, there's some really great conversations that people pay a lot of money to be a part of, and I'm sitting there as now engaging in those conversations. It's been great, but no, I've really been excited about it. It's been an awesome transition.
Final question.
You touch on it just a little bit right now, but you came here, you coached linebackers, then you went defensive tackles. Now you're working the studs package. How much of a learning curve is there to this process, and do you rely or lean at all on your time at Holy Cross as a defensive coordinator, kind of holistically?
Yeah, I mean, again, the system in which we're going in through right now is it's pretty laid out in the sense that you're going to have everything always kind of comes down to teaching, right? So it's whether or not you're teaching a new material or you're teaching the same material you've taught for the last 15 years, right? So it's still material that you're teaching, and how do they learn? How do they learn through words and pictures and all that stuff is. We're always trying to get better at that, whether it's a new app or a new something that the guys are using that's better, or for whatever reason, a better picture showing this, or a better way to say things. That to me is where the secret is in teaching. I mean, I think the material in itself, in a sense that, what are you, learning and teaching in that regard. I mean, yeah, there's definitely, time you got to spend on making sure that you have all the answers to every single question, but. That's something that Travis and Coach Shiano, as everyone works together, it's pretty laid out. I mean, we're not afraid to sit down and have a bunch of conversations, about how things are being taught and how things are, how we're going to explain this to the player, because that's everything, right? That's our job. Kind of, what's the easiest way for this kid to learn how to do X, and how fast can you adjust to that on the field? That is ultimately what we do. So.
Thanks, Coach.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.